So I guess a lot of tutor here who are listening might identify with me about this kind of frustration you have of lack of student engagement. So that is exactly the problem I was trying to solve. And I was searching for a lot of solutions, alternatives, but unfortunately, I don't find anything that can cater to my students.
Welcome, everyone. Today we have Yin Wang. And I don't know about you, but when I discover new tech, it is always exciting. And that is exactly what Yin has. She has created something that doesn't inhibit the learning or distract kids from being able to learn what they need to learn, but yet reinforces the learning that's happening and created an amazing tool that you're going to learn more about called Fun Class that is going to share. We're going to get to learn about how it was developed. You're going to get to learn what are some of the things that this tool can do. How is it different than what already exists out there so that you can be excited and give it a go and try it for yourself as well if this is a tool for you. If you feel like Zoom isn't cutting it for you, if you feel like Koala Go is maybe a little bit too much work to try to create the different rooms and all of that kind of stuff. Whatever, wherever you're at in your journey with discovering what is going to be the right platform for you, you're going to have insight into another tool that can be really helpful for your tutoring services. So welcome, Yan. I'm so glad you're here.
I'm so honored to be your guest here, Joanne.
Yeah, tell us a little bit about what inspired you to create Fun Class and how
Yeah.
did your experience as an online English teacher shape this platform's development?
Yeah, absolutely. So before I dive into Fun Class, I like to give everyone a little bit context about who I am, where I come from, etc. So yeah, as you can see on my face, I'm Chinese, and I'm an online tutor for 8 years, teaching exclusively Chinese students. And I'm also an online influencer on Chinese social media, sharing a lot of language learning methods because I teach languages. And also, as Joanne has already introduced, I'm the CEO and co-founder of this virtual classroom called Fun Class. The idea is to use gamification to make online tutoring as fun as a game. Yeah, so that's basically my background. And to answer your question, Joanne, what inspired me to create Fun Class, right? So that is exactly originated from my 8 years of online tutoring experience. So before I created Fun Class, I was using Zoom or different counterpart of Zoom in China, which is called Tencent Meeting or Vogue Meeting, the international name. But essentially, it's just a meeting platform for corporates, companies to have meetings between adults. It's not built for learning in the first place. So it was extremely challenging and frustrating for me to use this kind of meeting software to engage my students. My students, they're very young, like 6 to 10 years old, the primary school age. And can you imagine they cannot do anything just sitting in front of a computer? So it's so easy for them to zoom out, even though it's called Zoom, but it's very easy for them to zoom out in online classes. And you sometimes when I ask a question, it's all silence. And then when they turn off the camera, once one student turn off the camera, everybody turn this off. I don't know whether you have that experience, right, as an online tutor. So I guess a lot of tutor here who are listening might identify with me about this kind of frustration you have of lack of student engagement. So that is exactly the problem I was trying to solve. And I was searching for a lot of solutions, alternatives, but unfortunately, I don't find anything that can cater to my students. I know there's Koala Go, but for my students, it's just too distractive because it has that virtual world. Maybe a lot of students would like it, but for me, I already have my slides, my prepared material. The virtual world is not very practical for my tutoring. So yeah, even though Koala Go is built for young students, it's not fit. It's not a fit for my students. So that's why I was helpless, right? So then I thought, since there is no such tool out there, why don't I create one by myself? So that's how I started my journey of starting Fun Class, of building a gamified virtual classroom for tutors like me who have problems, who are frustrated with engaging students to really maximize student engagement in their online tutoring. So kind of my story of getting on this journey of creating fun class.
Oh my gosh, I love that. Can you walk us through that process of designing the and developing the gamification elements?
Absolutely. Gamification is actually such a powerful tool when it comes to learning, like Duolingo. I think everybody loves that gamification side Duolingo, right? That keeps people motivated, addicted. You want to do it every day. And that is the power of gamification. But when it comes to online virtual classrooms, you will see there's no player outside there that really leverage gamification features to make students engage in online learning. There are a lot of apps for independent learning that use gamification very well. But when it comes to online live tutoring, it seems there's nothing in this space, right? So that's why I had this idea. Okay, gamification can be our solution. But what kind of gamification features? That comes to the second question. So the idea we want to use gamification is because we want to motivate students much better than just using a plain Zoom. So when it comes to motivation, I'm sure, Joanne, you definitely know some of the learning pedagogy theory here. There are two types of motivations, extrinsic and intrinsic motivation, right? So for extrinsic, that's more like reward points, etc. And then that's intrinsic motivation, that is like the true enjoyment of what you're learning here. And then for fun class, we try to leverage both motivations for students to really get motivated in online tutoring. So when it comes to extrinsic motivation, your students are using fun class, right? So I'm sure how happy, how excited they are when they get that food or points from you in the class. Later, they can feed their little pet, like this unicorn next to me. Yeah. So that is how, first of all, we leverage extrinsic motivation for students get into that learning experience. Yeah. So for a student, if I have no idea of this subject, or maybe I don't do it well in school, I first need some extrinsic motivation for me to get into that learning experience. And then it comes to the more important motivation, that is intrinsic motivation, how we can make students truly enjoy what they're learning. Again, there are some several elements when it comes to intrinsic motivation. Number one is competence. So when you feel that you're good at something, you have that intrinsic motivation. You want to do it more. You want to do it again, right? Because you feel I'm good at it. I'm competent. So the idea, how we try to use competency in fun class is actually to use this kind of like a level up system for students to know, yeah, I'm making progress. I'm becoming better every time. So when they see their pet levels up, it's actually an indication of their own progress. So that shows the student you're becoming better and better at this subject you're learning. So that's number one, how we build this kind of competence for a student using gamification. And number two, when it comes to intrinsic motivation, that is social relatedness, how you feel you're connected with the people around you, right? I'm sure you're feeling more motivated, more enjoyable when you're doing something with people together. That is how, again, we try to use team collaboration in fun class. So one of the feature examples of using team collaboration is actually the quiz feature. I don't know whether Joanne, you have tried it with your student. So basically the students, they can team up to fight a virtual monster by answering the quiz questions. Yeah, so you feel like you're supported by your team member together to answer the quiz questions while fighting off a virtual monster. So that's another idea to support this kind of need for connection with other students in the classroom, right?
Oh my
And number
gosh, I love that.
and there's the last element, which is autonomy. Yeah, autonomy. The students can have control of what they want to learn. Yes, again, we give the teacher the flexibility to choose what kind of material that really appeal to their students. And then they can put it onto fun class to attract, to engage their students. So that's how we try to use this kind of theory of motivation in our gamification design to really motivate students both extrinsically and intrinsically.
I love that. How do you balance maintaining that fun and the engagement while still ensuring that they are meeting their learning objectives?
Yeah. That's a great question again. I feel like when it comes to the balance of gamification and learning, the gamification side is more like a support. It should not be the dominant feature of the learning experience. So that's why this kind of support comes into a very handy tool, which is this leaderboard and the rewards, right? So for any positive behavior or learning progress, efforts of the students, teachers can just click on one button to reward the students, and then they give them immediate feedback. Yes, I'm doing well. I got the reward from my teacher. That shows my learning effort, right? But at the same time, it's not distractive. Yeah, it's not now I'm focusing on my pet, I'm feeding my pet in class. No, the students cannot do anything well after they finish the class. Then after finish the class,
Mm.
they go into their pet room to feed their pet using the food they just earned from the class. Yeah, so that's how we ensure a balance of gamification fun and also the true objective learning. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that is so fantastic. So I don't get to see the other side. As I've been using it with my student, I get to see what she's doing with
Yeah,
me in class, but I haven't gotten to see that other side, what she's able to do after class. So that's really cool that
exactly.
they get to do that. I know one of my students, she's been struggling with being able to like just get to the screen and do her work on
Mm.
time. So I have been able to actually put the three treasure boxes in front of her and just say, "Oh, if you are able to choose one of your treasure boxes in 10 seconds, then we'll be able to get started today." And she only has 10 seconds, otherwise I take it away. And I love that I can take those boxes away if she hasn't been able to
Yeah.
come sit down right away and be able to get started, then she loses that opportunity. I also though give like a verbal, okay, you got 10, 9, 8. But I
Yeah.
kind of down her and she gets, and it's been like just motivational for her to come and just click on one of the boxes. And then, okay, now she's ready just because she's already engaged by just
Yes,
clicking those
exactly.
boxes. Now, I don't do it for every student. It's only when it's like specifically needed, but I love
Yeah.
that I can reward them throughout the class and they're excited about what they're getting. Like, oh, I just got food, or oh, I just got XPs, or I got the highest XP, or oh, I didn't get the highest XP, but I did get XPs. Yay! What's some of the other feedback that you've received from teachers and students who've used your platform, and how
Yeah.
has that feedback influenced updates that you have?
Yeah, absolutely. To be honest, since the launch of Fun Class, we've been receiving so much amazing feedback from both the tutors and the students. So I would say majority of them have seen a significant boost in their students' engagement comparing before when they were using Zoom or other meeting softwares. And for me, since I'm still using Fun Class to teach my students every week, I can see such a huge contrast. Even my quieter students are raising up their hands. I was like, what? This is a miracle. I never have to cue my students' name again. They're actually raising up their hands for the first time. Oh my God. So that's one of the, I would say, like the miraculous moment when I was using Funk, because that's my direct experience, my first-hand experience as an online tutor. And I know, okay, that works. That really works well. And then I've got so much similar feedback from my other Fun Class tutors who are using Fun Class to teach their students. And then they all say, their students have been much more engaged in their class. And there's another thing, yeah, we are currently trying to do outside of the gamification side. That is to make Fun Class and everything in one platform. So that means you no longer need to use so many different tools, apps, softwares for your tutoring, but you just use one platform, Fun Class, to deliver your classes, to schedule your lessons, to assign your homework, to share your resources, to even process payment invoices your parents. So that is the vision we're trying to become, not just a virtual classroom, but a tool that can help you solve all of your tutoring management problems. That's it. Yeah, we are trying to do. And that's all the feedback we receive from our tutors. Hey, can we do this? Can we do that? If we feel like, okay, that suggestion can be beneficial to most tutors and students, then we implement it. So a lot of
Mm.
examples, I can give you some, including co-browser, right? I know Joanne, as a tutor who is used to use co-browser with your students to play game, that is an essential tool, like a function for you. That is exactly from one of our tutor suggestions. Hey, I'm using co-browser from another competitor's platform to engage my students, but FunClass doesn't have it. Can we build it? I would said, yes, of course. And then we built co-browser in 1 week for her.
Yeah.
And that we've seen that so many tutors, they sign up to Fun Class because they're looking for co-browser options. Yeah,
Mm.
so that's how we are really receptive in terms of user feedback because that's the people we are trying to serve, and they are the source of our inspiration and how we can improve our platform. Yeah, based on user feedback.
I love that. And you guys have always been so quick if I've mentioned something to like work around, find a solution, make it better. And I think that's the really cool part about when a company is getting started like you are. You guys are so open to the feedback that people have to
Absolutely.
give to make those changes right out of the gate and see, okay, yeah, how can we make this happen so
Yeah.
that it is the best tool that ends up being created for the people. I remember the very first time that my daughter, they feel like my kids, don't they? My student who when her pet hatched and how excited she was the day that her pet
Oh.
finally hatched. She just thought it was so exciting to see that happen. And she had went gone from, yeah, it's okay. It's four. I'm gonna give this 4 stars, the platform 4 stars. But then as soon as her pet hatched, she was like, 5 stars. I love it. That was the thing that like clinched her and she absolutely loved. So I
Oh
think that's
yeah,
really, really
who
cool.
wouldn't love a cute unicorn pet?
Exactly. Have there been any challenges implementing gamification that surprised you or any unexpected benefits that have come out of it?
Yeah, I would say when it comes to challenges, definitely our current design or style looks more childish. But I know there are a lot of tutors who want to engage their older students using gamification as well. So that's something we're trying to do right now to adapt our gamification style and design to make it more relatable for older students as well. So teachers can have an option. Yeah, what kind of gamification style or option you would like to choose for different kinds of students, right? Whether it's younger students, so yeah, there is your pet development game. And for the older students, maybe that's another more mature style of gamification. So that is one of the challenges we are facing right now, but we are actively solving it. Actually, that would unlock more opportunities for fun class, not just for younger students, but also for older students because they need that excitement as well. Who wouldn't love being like fun as a game, right? When it comes to early
Right.
learning. So that's number one. And number two, unexpected benefits. I would say, yeah, a little bit contradictory to what I just said before, because we also have tutors who are using Fun Class to teach adults, like 30-year-old adults. And then they love it. They love it.
Mm.
One of our tutors said it's her first time in her teaching career that her students ask for quizzes because of the gamification side. They want more points for their pet to hatch. And then they were asking the tutor, can we have more quizzes next time? And it's like the first time in her life, in her career, teaching career, hearing that student ask for quizzes. That was definitely one of the unexpected benefits. Yeah, for us.
I love that. I gotta think about how to incorporate quizzes more. And I love it when kids can even like create their own quizzes. And I think it would be cool to even have them create the quizzes because I work one-on-one with students. But
Yeah.
I think for them to create the quiz and then answer the questions of their own quiz could even have some value
Oh,
inside of there
yeah. That would be really
because
fun. Students to
they have to
question
think through.
answer. Yeah.
Yeah, they have to think through like how are questions designed so that they can become
Mm.
a better question chooser or answerer,
Yes.
right? When it comes to
That's a
that kind of stuff. So
fantastic idea. Yeah, we would love to incorporate it on Fun Class.
oh my gosh, I gotta try that out. We'll see. We'll see. That you have been building and scaling Fun Class. What are the biggest challenges that you've experienced as because you're also a tutor yourself and have other tutors and all of this great stuff. What are some of the biggest challenges you've experienced?
Yeah, in terms of challenges, definitely this is my first time building a software company, like an ad tech company. Even though, yeah, before building Fun Class, I had two entrepreneur experience back in China. They're mainly like experience-based projects. So this is my first time building a software. And I think probably I underestimated how complicated it would be to build a software tool, especially when it comes to real-time meetings. Yeah, like sessions, and that
Oh,
would tackle a lot of server issues, whether like the users, they're having a smooth experience from maybe different parts of the world. So that is a huge
right.
challenge. yeah, when it comes to build this kind of software for real-time communication, yeah, we need to
Yeah.
ensure the connectivity, the smooth experience, the user, which is the foundation of a virtual classroom tool. So we need to ensure that stability. That's number one challenge. And number two, since we are a UK-based company, I know a lot of other virtual classroom software companies, they have problem of accessibility in China. But we have a lot of tutors who are teaching Chinese, including myself, right? So in order to solve this challenge, we actually established a Chinese company. Yeah, and then we established a Chinese server so we can make Fun Class accessible in China as well. So I would say that kind of gives a huge advantage comparing to the
Yeah.
countries and not get into China without a VPN. Yeah, because I'm
That's cool.
I should say I took advantage of my own identity as a Chinese citizen
Yes.
to establish a
Yes.
Chinese company there. Yeah,
Oh, that's
another challenge
awesome.
we had. Yeah, but now we conquered it. Now we are accessible
Yes.
in China without any barrier.
You fought one of the monsters. Oh my gosh. Like you like took that monster down. I love it because that is a huge challenge for a lot of people, but because of who you are, like you were just really meant to create this tool to be able to beat that monster. I love that. What are some success stories of how fun class has impacted the learning experience for students? Do you have any specific stories that you can share with us?
Yeah, absolutely. I can actually share success story for both tutors and the student side. So maybe I can first share the tutor side first because that's my first-hand experience and the feedback I've heard the most from my tutor subscribers. So as I already mentioned, one of my success stories before, my quiet students are raising up their hands using Fun Class. And then another success story is actually from another tutor friend who is using Fun Class with his students. So basically, he was originally teaching the student one-on-one. And then the student loved the pet so much that he told his friends about this pet development game on Fun Class. And then his friend got very intrigued. Oh, what is the game are you playing? I would like to try. And then that student, like the friend, also signed up to that tutor's trial lesson to have one class with him. And now guess what? He is having a pair group lesson with these two students. So that's how Fun Class can help tutors attract more students to join their course. I would say that is a very powerful positioning because Fun Class is not just used for the lesson experience, but it can also become a very strong marketing point for the tutor. Comparing to tutors who are using boring Zoom, right? I'm using Fun Class. Look, the students are much more engaged in my class. So that can actually become a very powerful tool for teachers to market themselves, to market their services. So it's not just like their qualification matters, but also the platform they use also matters, especially when it
Yeah.
comes to catch the young students' attention. So I think that is another success story, how teachers use Fun Class to convert students, which is their kind of their
Mhm.
biggest need, right? I need to have more students. And that is another, I would say, incredible success story. And then for the student side, I have to say engagement definitely. That's something I've already repeated several times. Huge engagement increase on when using Fun Class. What is the benefit of having more engagement? I would say the direct benefit is student learning outcome. When using Fun Class, I would say their progress on the subject we're learning also increase a lot because now they're more engaged in my lesson.
Yeah.
They listen more carefully. So as a result, their learning outcome is also better than before. So how do I know that? Because as I said, Fun Class has that the quiz function. So I can
Mhm.
directly assess their understanding at the end of the class to see their understanding, how well you understood from this lesson. And that I would say most of my students, they got, I was in at least 80 to 90% correct from all of the quiz questions after using Fun Class. So that's another success story on the student side, not just engagement, but also learning outcome, which is why we exist as tutors, right? We help the
Right.
students improve their learning outcome. So yeah, that's another story I would like to share here.
Oh, I love that. That's amazing. So fun. And you also have like eye tracking on there. I had turned it on the other
Yeah.
day on accident, and I don't even know like how I turned it on. But all of a sudden, like my students started paying attention to something else, and it took some points away from them because
Oh,
they weren't paying attention.
yeah.
And I never thought about like with one-on-one how that actually can be really
Mm.
useful. I always thought my kids are always paying attention. And so it was actually good feedback for me to know
Mm-hmm.
not all the time are they paying as much attention as you think they
Exactly.
are,
Some
right?
kids can play very smart. They pretend that they're listening to you, but their
Yeah.
screen is not your screen. I have a lot
Right.
of examples of this as well from my students. But yes, this fun class has that attention tracker feature. Well, it doesn't actually track the eye movement of the student, but it tracks the
Okay.
focus of their screen, whether the focus, like the main screen of their laptop or device, is fun class tab or not. So let's say they open another window or browser or maybe like another desktop app, right? For more than one
Huh.
minute. As a teacher, you receive that notification telling you that your student might not be paying attention. And at the same time, it has consequences for the student as well, because as you said, their pet is going to lose lives. Yeah, so that's
Right.
actually a very powerful way to really make them focused in class rather than multitasking, being distracted while the teacher might not be noticing. So yeah, that's another powerful tool. I, as an online tutor, I need the transparency to know whether my students pay attention or not. So we build that function. And they turn out to be so
Yeah.
effective for other tutors as well.
Yeah. Yeah. Very cool. So where can tutors find more information about Fun Class?
Very easy. Just search Google Fun Class, and then I think the first result will be our website. Yes, right now we are providing 1 month free trial. And also, I would say our pricing plan is very competitive in this market. So for the
Yeah.
starter plan is 96 per year. So that equals around £7 or £8 per month. I would say
Yeah.
that's nothing
I
for two.
know.
Yeah, so that's a
Especially when you
very,
look
I
at the
would say,
pricing of the other tools that are out there right now, it's not something that is so steep and expensive. Is the goal to make it more expensive over time, or are you thinking that it's going to stay around this price point?
I think for now, since we are still a very early startup, we would love to make it accessible as possible for tutors. So we would keep this price for now, at least this year. But also, yeah, as we're constantly building a lot of new functions every day, including in the future, this kind of invoice payment system. So really for tutors to streamline everything, we might increase the price a little bit in the future. But yeah, at least this year, I feel like till the end of the year, we will still remain the same price. Yeah.
Awesome. Awesome. Definitely, everyone, check it out. And thank you so much, Yan, for sharing this great tool with us and for creating
My
something that
pleasure.
is extremely functionable for tutors, for students, for parents. I know one of the problems I was experiencing is one of my students wasn't able to get the sound just right, but as soon as they log on into your system, they get to hear themselves if their sound is working versus waiting until I bring them on into the room to figure out if the sound is working. They know immediately if their sound is working or not working. So
Exactly.
I love that they can test that out ahead of time and have those features all figured out so that we can focus on the learning time together.
Yeah,
So, very
absolutely.
thanks again for joining us today. And I hope you guys check out Fun Class. Just type that on into Google, Fun Class, and you will begin to see how this can really make your tutoring even more fun for your students and keep them engaged during your sessions.